may be in store for some railroad repurposing. I'm Richard Hill. Find out what this railroad behind me may turn into coming up today.
There will be a reliable, a credible journalism that people can count on, and that I expect this university will be at the forefront of.
New Space. This is Darby C. Steelstra with Take 30 News. See how generous donations have enhanced the now maxed out digital media center at MSU.
Officially open for business. I'm Kellen Osby with the Uprise of Women's Businesses in Mississippi.
Picture a business owner in your head. You might be thinking of a man. Historically, more men have owned businesses, but that is changing.
A new study shows that more Mississippi women are starting businesses. Here in Starkville, they're in good company. Take 30's Kellen Osby joins us live downtown with the new numbers. Kellen?
According to a study, in Mississippi, 42% of businesses are owned by women. One assistant manager says that she hopes women-owned businesses will encourage other women and girls to accomplish their goals.
A business. Many Starkville stores like R Tab and Company and Deep South Pout are owned by women. So what could this mean for the future of aspiring female entrepreneurs?
Girls growing up, they're able to see, oh, there are women that are already doing this. Maybe I could do it too. So I think it helps people see, hey, I can do it and shoot for the stars.
Whether at home or in a store, women are taking over. With over 100,000 women in the state of Mississippi owning a business, 42% of business owners in the state are women, as shown in the State of Women-Owned Business Report commissioned by the American Express.
This information also uses data from the U.S. Census Bureau's survey of business owners and changes in gross domestic product. With so many female entrepreneurs expanding their reach, what could this mean for their communities?
I think it's really good for the community to see, hey, this is a women-owned business, and they're we've been open for a long time, and they're still thriving, and they're making changes. We've just opened the game day store, so it's building and building. So I think it's good for community members to see that we're doing that.
The report also shows that about 1,800 businesses a day were started by women in the past year, meaning women-owned businesses are prominent and only more are coming. I'm Kellen Osby for Take 30 News.
The owner of R Tab and Company also owns a second business that connects the parents of Mississippi State together. Rebecca?
Thank you, Kellen. According to the study, there are 3 industries where women-owned businesses have the highest total revenue. This includes wholesale trade, retail trade, and professional, scientific, and technical services. A young man was arrested last Wednesday with a gun that police says wasn't his. Starkville police say 18-year-old Treverice Smith of Starkville broke into a car and stole a firearm inside it. The teenager was arrested and charged with the possession of a stolen firearm. President Donald Trump recently announced that U.S. forces will be withdrawing from northern Syria soon. On Monday, the White House released a statement stating that the U.S. will be pulling troops from Syria, a move that has garnered criticisms as many say that Turkey, who has long sought to enter the area, will use the U.S. absence to launch an attack. However, Trump took to Twitter to combat the backlash, tweeting that he will totally destroy and obliterate the economy of Turkey if they do anything he considers off limits. With elections drawing even closer, the 2 major party nominees for Mississippi governor are set for their first debate. The debate will be held this Thursday on the University of Southern Mississippi campus in Hattiesburg. The 2 nominees have also agreed on a second debate scheduled for next week in Columbus. A grieving family says they should be compensated for a deadly mistake made by police. Take 30's Ben Phillips joins us now to explain what the family wants and how city leaders are responding. Ben?
Thank you, Rebecca. The price tag for the Lopez versus Southaven, Mississippi wrongful death lawsuit is $20 million. How did we get to this point? Well, absolute tragedy according to the Lopez family. According to multiple reports, on one summer night in July of 2017, Southaven law enforcement arrived in the neighborhood where Mr. Ismael Lopez and his wife, Claudia Linares, live. They were in the neighborhood looking for a domestic violence suspect. The problem, Mr. Lopez was not the individual who they were looking for, according to family attorney Murray Wells. In fact, his house was not the correct house to begin with, according to the family attorney. DeSoto County District Attorney John Champion said that he doesn't believe the officers announced themselves before they opened fire on Mr. Lopez, shooting through the door, as you can see here. Bullets struck Mr. Lopez in the back of his head. By the time the paramedics arrived to attend to Lopez, who was known for fixing his neighbor's cars for free, he was dead. Now the family demands justice.
The idea that Claudia's wife is left with a mess on her floor that was made by police, that they didn't clean up, that we had to clean up, and she was left with a door full of bullet holes, one of those bullets killing her husband. I can't imagine, but I know it's wrong. That case is incredibly important. The case is about a lot more than wrongful death, and it's about, this is about intrusion by law enforcement, uninvited intrusion. And now the case has turned into a case about what the 14th Amendment means for undocumented people in American soil. The 14th Amendment itself, in line 1, makes a distinction between citizens and persons, but what it says is that all persons within the jurisdiction of this country are afforded constitutional rights. So if you're on our soil, regardless of how you got here, you have those rights.
The counter argument for the city of South Haven is Mr. Lopez wasn't an American citizen, so he shouldn't be afforded the same rights as you or I. Take 30 News spoke with former lawyer and MSU instructor Whit Wade on the matter.
First of all, they do. There's not any question about that. There's even a Supreme Court case that says it. It's called Filer versus Doe, if you want to look it up. For a lawyer, for anybody else to suggest that just because you're an undocumented person, you're not here through the normal legal channels. For somebody to say that they don't have constitutional rights is morally incorrect, and it's legally incorrect.
South Haven Mayor Darren Musselwhite released a statement saying, "As I've stated before, the city of South Haven will defend this matter in the court of law, not in the media via press conference with ridiculous, misleading sound bites. A federal judge will consider actual prior federal case law presented by the city's attorney in this case. Our officers were not indicted by a DeSoto grand jury and cleared by the FBI and Department of Justice, and the city will continue to vigorously defend them and itself in this civil matter, anxiously awaiting all facts being exposed."
Thank you, Ben. The case is ongoing. Up next, Take 30's News is a new home this semester. Join us as we break down what changed here at MSU.
The idea that Claudia's
For travel restrictions keep holding you back, Mississippi State can get you there. With our convenient online courses, you can earn a degree in elementary education while learning from MSU professors on a schedule that works for you. And the best part? Graduates enjoy high job placement across the state. So why wait? Take the first step toward a better, more fulfilling career, no matter where you are.
I was talking with Special Agent Pete Stratton. He spends his days working to protect us from cyber threats. The dangers are advancing quicker than we can keep up with, he said. Stolen credit cards, malware attacks, altered records, and broader cases in areas like terrorism, white-collar crimes, and child exploitation. Folks shouldn't have to live like that. So I looked into becoming part of Mississippi State's cybersecurity program. We're a national leader in exploring computer vulnerabilities and identifying new ways to halt malicious attacks on the internet. And we're training top cybersecurity professionals who are destined for service in support of national defense. You know, it really bothers me that folks have to worry about risking their information as well as their family's security. Maybe someday, they won't have to.
More than 5 years ago, it was just an idea, but $740,000 later, that dream became a reality. And now we're in it. You may have noticed Take 30 News is coming to you from a new studio. And as Take 30's Cole Brundage explains, it's just one of many big changes at MSU's Mitchell Memorial Library. Cole?
For months, big changes were underway at the Digital Media Center in the library. Now the construction and upgrades are finally finished, and this week the big scissors were brought out to commemorate the big changes. On Monday, students, professors, and more got together for a ribbon-cutting ceremony to celebrate the newest addition to the library, a broadcast studio exclusively for student and faculty use. John Block of MaxSouth Communications was the guest of honor for his $440,000 donation for the project. He says that the need for trained media professionals has never been more critical and believes that MSU is where they'll come from.
Nothing routine about it. Someone had a vision, made it happen, took a space that was underutilized and visioned it to something else, and then got it funded, planned, and completed.
Block is excited for the new studio, and the professors and students here are excited too. But what does this mean for students? Take 30's Darby Sue Steelstra explains how the generous donation will help take the broadcast program to the next level. Taking one.
I wasn't the most comfortable at first, but I knew that with practice and repetition I would get better, and so I've already started to see some improvements.
Thanks to a generous donation of $440,000 from MaxSouth and more than $300,000 additional dollars in total donated from the Office of the Provost, the College of Arts and Sciences, and the Department of Communication at MSU. Students like senior broadcasting major Richard Hill are able to work in a TV studio much like what they will find after graduation. While Communication Department Chair Dr. Terry Likes is excited about what the new space means for communication students, he says the benefits go way beyond the broadcasting students.
Just opens the doors for a lot of students to have access to equipment and facilities and classes and professors to be able to utilize the space for the benefit of our students.
Having the new MaxSouth Digital Media Center means more access for all students across campus to see what it takes to produce a real TV show.
I saw it and I lit up.
When the MaxSouth Digital Media Center first opened, students and faculty members like broadcast instructor Jason Hibbs were in awe.
We've got everything we need now to be the best program we can be.
With 4 shows already under their belt, Hill and the other broadcast students are thankful for the new space.
Getting the opportunity to do this class in this facility has been really beneficial.
In Starkville, this is Darby Sue Steelstra with Take 30 News.
It's safe to say all of us are very thankful to Mr. Block and the others who made this dream a reality. Richard?
Thank you, Cole. Stick around. We've got more news and plans on events happening around Starkville when we come back.
Come now, taking one.
I wasn't the...
Some are battling brain tumors, others vertebral and spinal conditions. And as rewarding as our work often is, it can be frustrating at times. That's because brain and nervous system conditions are difficult to diagnose and treat, especially when they affect patients who can't talk. A while back, we saw a chance to start something special here, introducing innovative imaging to better understand brain and spinal cord diseases in cats and dogs. Having that type of information makes a substantial difference when developing treatment and surgical plans. It also aids in personalizing the rehabilitation process. The toughest part of our job comes when our patients are well enough to go home. As thrilled as we are to see them walk again, a big piece of our heart goes out the door when they leave.
Ask anyone who lived through Katrina and they'll tell you, a hurricane's rage can be mighty unforgiving. Death, destruction, despair, for as far as the eyes can see. The comeback that began immediately continues a decade later, and Mississippi State's Gulf Coast Community Design Studio has been here supporting these efforts every step of the way. Within hours of landfall, our teams were on the ground, surveying the conditions of homes and helping local residents with cleanup. We even relocated operations from our main campus some 5 hours away to ensure faster response time. Today, we're a national leader, partnering with local agencies to construct stronger, more affordable housing while exploring ways to make coastal communities more storm resilient. We don't pretend to know how to control the weather, but you can bet we're doing everything we can to control its fury.
Well, it hasn't been in use for quite some time now, but transformation could be in store for the railroad that stretches through Starkville. But what will it become? We spoke with Mayor Lynn Spruill to find out. Bridge to Trails is a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating a nationwide network of trails from former and unused railroads. They could be one step closer to their goal as Starkville considers joining the crusade by flipping one of our very own railroads into a trail. Last Tuesday, the Board of Aldermen unanimously voted to ask permission from the Federal Surface Transportation Board to remove the rails of this railroad, which extend the entire length of Starkville diagonally. With the railroad being out of use for quite some time now, this idea has been brought up to Mayor Lynn Spruill before.
That particular idea has been around and floated at me for over a decade. When I was working on staff here at the city, periodically, probably once a month or once every other month, I would get people asking me, why don't we do Rails to Trails?
Though the city of Starkville is ready to get the ball rolling, it still may never happen. According to Mayor Lynn Spruill, the owners, Kansas City Southern Railway Company, aren't ready to let go of the stretch of railway in Starkville just yet. But it's not just Starkville that this could affect. With the railroad stretching through 4 counties, a collaborative effort is necessary.
But we had a preliminary meeting in looking at whether or not those entities would be willing to participate in making this Rail to Trail happen. And they seem to have some sense that it was worth doing.
If that change is made, they'll have to take down these signs that say railroad crossing and put up something that says pedestrian crossing instead. Student Morgan Houston, who lives right off of the railroad, is excited about the possibility.
I think the trail is an awesome idea. I think it'll help get our community on a more active level. My roommate happens to have a dog here, so just because it's so convenient right there, I think we'll use it quite often.
Only time will tell what's in store for the railroad in the future, but there are several other trails in town to take advantage of in the meantime. I'm Richard Hill for Take 30 News. Once approval from Kansas City is received, the Rail to Trail process can begin. Funding for the project will come from grants.
All across our nation, there are countless animals in shelters. The Oktibbeha County Humane Society is wanting to beat those odds by hosting an event to give all their furry residents a loving home in one day. Empty the Shelters is a nationwide event that will take place this Saturday, October 12th. Sponsoring the event will be Bissell Pet Foundation. The Oktibbeha County Humane Society will be hosting this event and opening their doors starting at 11 o'clock and will be eagerly waiting to clear the shelter until 8 that night. All adoptions will include age-appropriate vaccinations along with spay and neuter.
Thank you, Rebecca. There's a lot going on in the world, which means there's a lot going on in the sports world. All that and more coming up next.
When you're the best, everyone wants to see what you'll do next. At Mississippi State University, our team of world-class rocket engineers is venturing beyond boundaries, building rockets like none before. We're launching a new era of space exploration, We've developed cutting-edge technology that's helping us build a rocket that can travel at 4 times the speed of sound. Fast? Yes. But more importantly, revolutionary. For you and for a space program that produces many of the conveniences we enjoy today. We're shaping your life in ways you never dreamed. What's next? Watch us and see.
Tomorrow is fall break for MSU, but some athletes have a full schedule. Your men's and women's tennis team are playing in a tournament in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Volleyball is in Tuscaloosa today. The softball team is heading to Houston, Texas on Friday. The soccer team will have a home game against Auburn on Friday as well. And the football team will be going to Knoxville to play Tennessee at 11 a.m. on Saturday, October the 12th. After making a second straight trip to Omaha in the 2019 baseball season, the Diamond Dogs took to the field to begin preparing for the upcoming season. Here's Will Bailey with more. Will?
MSU hosted the University of Louisiana in a doubleheader this past Saturday. State lost their first game 7-4, but won the second 13-2. But this weekend was about more than just 2 games. After a memorable 2019 campaign, the baseball team is looking to do something that has never happened at MSU, make 3 straight trips to the College World Series. But that won't happen overnight. State will be looking to replace a lot of talent this spring. Their Friday night pitcher, Ethan Small, was taken in the first round of the MLB draft, and the team will need to find a way to replace the leadership and production of the SEC all-time hits leader, Jake Mangum. Outfielder Tanner Allen says one teammate has taken some big steps in the offseason, and head coach Chris Lemonis says this fall season is a little different than last year.
Hunter Blaylock to me he got redshirted last year. He's made the most improvement to me. I mean, the guy works his butt off the field and on the field. He's still got a long ways to go. He knows that, but watching him first day of fall this year versus first day of fall last year is a big difference. And I was really excited for him. He's a great guy, good friend of mine.
It was a zoo last fall, so where we were practicing when we had bad weather, our locker room was over here, the inside facility was over here, so it's been a lot better for us this fall. I mean, and you got the nicest place in the country to practice.
Mississippi State will host their annual Fall World Series inter-squad scrimmage this weekend and plans to play one more exhibition game this fall against UAB in Birmingham on October 20th. The school is yet to release the 2020 baseball schedule. Now back to Ben.
Thank you, Will. In the NFL, you need to perform and perform well or you're gone. That's for coaches, players, executives alike. Well, look no further. We had our first man up, first man out this week. The Washington Redskins told Jay Gruden his service were no longer required after an 0-5 start to this season, and an overall 35-50-1 record during his tenure. Offensive line coach Bill Callahan will be the interim coach moving forward. By making the move this early, Washington will get the pick of the litter for who they want to be their next head coach next season. For some, video games are just a hobby. For others, it's a way of life and possibly a paycheck. Take 30's Walt Hill has more on this story. Walt?
Growing phenomenon around the world, and Mississippi and Mississippi State University are paying attention. The university and the esports club are currently working together to get a team assembled. Once assembled, they will be treated like athletes with benefits. Now, something like this won't happen overnight, but with the support of the university and President Mark Keenum, success is in the near future. While most people play video games for fun, the day is coming where gamers will be able to cash in.
An arena typically filled with basketball this weekend trades in for esports, a new form of competitive sports in the gaming industry.
Last year was at Ole Miss. We beat them there 5-2, and we're hoping to beat them again, even worse this time.
This past weekend's competition hosted 14 teams, 7 from Ole Miss, 7 from Mississippi State, who beat it out on stage in front of hundreds of members for the glorious Egg Bowl.
I see this blowing up. I mean, it's wild watching Counter-Strike on the hump screen right there. That's pretty.
While attending an event, I was able to speak to some team members, and they said that they were excited for the future of esports and very excited for their team.
Well, I mean, the glove is very strong.
They also stated that it was nice to have the support from Mississippi State and the community behind them.
As you see in this engagement,
I would really hope good people continue to play esports, continue to game, and just make it bigger, honestly.
The competition was tough this weekend, with a 3-3 tie going into the last match. Ultimately, Ole Miss came out victorious at the Egg Bowl.
Next few years, Mississippi State hopes to be able to offer players positions on their roster. Ben?
Thank you, Walt. Next year's Egg Bowl will be held in Oxford. Mississippi State will compete once again, this time looking to return the egg back to Starkville. That's it for sports. Coming up next, we have more exciting news for you with one that's especially tasty. Rebecca, Richard.
Thank you, Ben. So, if you didn't know, it's spooky season right now, and for most, that means a number of things. Yeah. But one thing is certain: candy sales will be skyrocketing this month. But which candies sell the most? We've got two options that have made it on CandyStore.com's list of the best and worst candies of each year. Which one do you think was the best and the worst? We'll let you know, but tell them, Rebecca, which ones did make that list?
That's right. We had Reese's come in number 1, and Candy Corn came in last place.
Candy Corn came in last?
Yes.
How?
Circus Peanuts, which placed last in 2018's list, moved up a spot this year to end its worst as a worst candy.
And so what's your favorite?
My favorite is Butterfinger, which it didn't even make the list this year.
Well, that's unfortunate, but
yeah.
That's about all the time we have for you guys tonight. If you want to check us out on social media, you can take us at Take 30 News MSU on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
That's all we have. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Good night.